Hey there, and welcome to the Dark Blue Nutrition Mindful Muscles podcast. Today I'm going to share with you 5 ways to eat healthier that don't involve calorie counting. Now, I prefer this approach when it comes to healthy eating because long-term obsessing over a number just doesn't work. Whether it's with weight or calories, it just doesn't set us up for a healthy, happy relationship with food, and that's what I'm here to teach you today. Now, if my clients have no clue where to start or what a calorie looks like or how macronutrients impact the body, I may have them track for a very short while to gain a grasp for what benefits carbs, fat, and protein have on hunger and fullness cues. And it's not bad to track short term, but long term, I just don't recommend it because it's something that doesn't let us use our own intuition to guide us on how to fuel our bodies. I think that is the best way to ultimately have a healthy and happy life, is to intuitively and mindfully find what works for you, dependent on your culture, what food preferences you have, and what you love to eat. So without further ado, let's jump into 5 strategies you can use to eat healthier without calorie counting. The first way to eat healthier without calorie counting is incorporating a variety of colors in your diet. So colors in whole foods like fruits, veggies, and grains indicate what phytonutrients are in that food. Each color represents a different type of nutrient, so if you've heard words like resveratrol, anthocyanins, flavonoids, and beta-carotene, that's what these things are. So phytonutrient literally means plant nutrient. And phytonutrients can help the body combat free radicals, which can do damage to our cells over time. It can also reduce the risk of cancer, heart disease, stroke, and Alzheimer's. So if you have a colorful plate, chances are that you have a balanced diet and a balanced plate full of nutrients. And yes, even white foods like potatoes have phytonutrients. Phytonutrients are present in stuff like garlic, onions, potatoes, and leeks, which are known for being white foods. So don't take these pale foods for granted. Instead of having a monochromatic plate, shoot for the rainbow. Red foods, green foods, white foods, blue foods. I feel like I'm in a Dr. Seuss book right now. But you don't have to get all these types of foods in every single meal. Just do your best to incorporate as many colors as possible on your plate and even at snacks, and you will have a healthier diet because of it. Of course, this doesn't include things like foods with food dye in them. This is mostly relevant when we're talking about whole foods, again, fruits, veggies, and grains. The next way to get healthier without calorie counting is the plate method. The plate method is similar to what you'd see on the USDA's My Plate recommendations, and essentially it is kind of the same thing, but I've seen a few different variations of it. But typically what the plate method looks like is half of your plate is produce, typically veggies like roasted broccoli, raw carrots, and salad, and a fourth of your plate is protein such as chicken, shrimp, chickpeas, or a sirloin steak, for example. And then the last fourth of your plate is a starch or a grain. So think potatoes, bread, rice, or quinoa. Using the plate method ensures that you're getting a good balanced macronutrient ratio without having to obsessively track your macros. So the standard recommendation for macronutrients is 50% carbs, 30% fat, and 20% protein. And the plate method really helps make sure that you're getting that good ratio. Now, as with everything, make sure that you keep in mind that everyone has different needs. So for example, if you're an athlete who does a lot of endurance training, then you may need more carbs. And if you're a woman with PCOS, some do better with a high-fat diet. So take all of this with a grain of salt. But I do find that one of the best methods to ensure you're getting a well-rounded diet is the plate method, because you're always getting the carbs, fat, and protein in a balanced ratio. The third way to eat healthier without calorie counting is honoring your hunger. So we hear about this a lot, but what exactly does it mean? Many of us eat far too little for what our bodies require, especially those of you who love fitness and exercise. And I know so many of you in the dark blue community fit that quota right now. I love fitness and I love exercise. And for the longest time, I always felt like I needed to eat far less than what my body required to really gain muscle. This can really make it difficult to have a normal functioning metabolism, and also, not to mention, you fitness lovers, it makes it difficult to gain muscle when you're in a calorie deficit. So you want to make sure you're eating enough by honoring your true hunger and fullness cues. And so if you're hungry at any time of the day, the answer is that you should eat something. Being hungry doesn't mean that you are wrong or that your body is misinterpreting something. It most likely means that you have to eat. And if you're hungry all the time, chances are, in general, you're just not eating enough to meet your needs. So how can you honor your hunger this week, and how can you know if you're really getting enough food? Throughout the day, try rating your hunger and fullness cues on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being so starving that you're barely functioning, and 10 being so stuffed that you can barely move and leave the couch. Another way to eat healthier is having a variety of foods. So this is not just in the sense of having a variety of colors, this is also just a variety of food in general. So switching it up. So if you eat the same food every day, try switching up one category of food at a time, like, for example, protein. Or you can do carbs or fat, but pick one and start there. Don't try to overwhelm yourself too much. I know it can get very challenging if we try to change too many things at once. So start with something like protein and change one thing in that category. So for example, if you usually eat chicken, try having salmon, shrimp, or lean ground beef. Do you like yogurt? Try having something like cottage cheese, string cheese, or a protein shake. Something that's in that same category with similar nutrients maybe, but a different type of food, so you're switching it up and not getting bored with your diet. Even as a dietitian, I am guilty of this myself. A lot of times I lean towards the same types of foods, and then I find that maybe I'm hungrier than normal, or I feel that boredom hunger creep up, and it's not because I don't eat enough, but because I'm not getting a good enough variety of foods, and it's not really satisfying my palate. Now, everyone has a different palate, and I would say that I have a little more adventurous palate than some of my friends or family maybe, but you might not have this problem. Keep that in mind. Everyone's individual, and try to shake it up if you can, not only for boredom's sake, but also for just nutrient density's sake and having a variety in your diet's sake. Then my last recommendation for eating healthier without calorie counting is adding fruits and veggies wherever you can. Now, I know this can be easily mistaken with me suggesting to eat fruits and veggies when you're actually craving other foods, and I wanted to ensure you that that's not at all what I mean. This is not a way to mask true hunger. I think that you should always listen to what your body actually wants, and usually you can pinpoint if you want more protein, carbs, or fat in your diet. Our bodies are very, very smart, so listen to what it's saying to you and what it's telling you and what you're craving. Now, I will have a podcast episode very soon on how to get back your hunger and fullness cues if they have been muted for some reason. For example, an eating disorder or a past history of an eating disorder or stress. These types of things can really impact our hunger and fullness cues. So if you don't think that your hunger and fullness cues are working at their peak or at their best, then don't worry and keep listening to this podcast, because I will have that for you very soon and we'll go into depth on that topic. So anyway, back to adding fruits and veggies in your diet. This is a way to easily add nutrient density to your meals no matter what you're eating. So even if you're having something that you may think of as non-nutrient dense, like we'll throw pizza out there, even though I love pizza and I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to consume, but that's just a traditional quote unquote food that people think is a bad thing to eat or something that they should have less of. If you combine that with a fruit or a vegetable, you can easily add even more nutrient density to that meal. Fruits and vegetables are full of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants that combat free radicals in the body. And long story short, as we mentioned earlier, free radicals over time can cause damage to the cells, which leads to unwanted side effects and even potentially disease. So not to get too dark on you, not to mention that fruits and vegetables have tons of fiber, which helps our body naturally get rid of excess things that it doesn't need. And therefore, we feel tons better. And of course, we feel better because we don't feel constipated. So the more fruits and vegetables we get in, the better. And always make sure to pair more fruits and vegetables with higher water content so you can flush out all of that good stuff. So what tips stood out to you the most this week? Screenshot this podcast and tag me on Instagram and share your answer with me on Instagram. That's probably the best way to kind of communicate with me and the Dark Blue Nutrition community. And if you're not already following me on YouTube, make sure to subscribe there for more mindful eating based nutrition and fitness tips. I post there every week and I'm trying to get a feel for my upload schedule for this podcast. So bear with me. If you have any suggestions for the podcast or for future YouTube videos, then DM me and let me know what you'd like to see. And thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate it and I love chatting with you guys every week. And I will see you in the next episode. Bye, guys.